Hello, my friends. Welcome to With Love for Senior. Can we be honest for a moment? Is masturbation still a normal part of life for men over 60? It's a question so many of us wonder about, yet so few of us dare to ask out loud. And the answer might surprise you because the truth is far more complex than we were ever told. We're going to talk about something that's been on our minds, a topic that touches so many of us but that we almost never talk about. It's a personal journey, one that can be filled with quiet confusion. We're talking about how we take care of ourselves privately. Now, if you're a man in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, we hope you'll listen. What we're about to share isn't about judgment. It's about a truth we've seen in so many conversations, so many lives. You see, for most of our lives, we've been told that self-pleasure is either a youthful urge or something to be ashamed of. We've been taught it's either a good thing or a bad thing, black or white. But the truth is, it's far more complex and important than we might think. This private habit, how we manage it, can be a silent force that either supports our health or quietly chips away at our energy, our confidence, and our connection to others. In this video, we'll walk you through 10 things about our physical and emotional lives after 60 that just aren't talked about enough. We'll show you how to turn this part of your life into a tool that actually protects your body and spirit. We'll talk about how to keep your body and your heart young. So let's get started, because our health and our confidence deserve the truth. We know this is a deeply personal topic. Are you interested in learning more about this? If this sounds useful to you, please comment 1. If not, please comment 0 so we can understand what topics are most helpful to you. And if you think this could help a friend, please share it with them. The first thing we want to talk about isn't just physical, it's about your connection to the world around you. This is a story we've heard so many times in so many different ways. We remember a conversation with a man, a kind, retired schoolteacher in his late 60s. He had this quiet sadness in his eyes, a sort of heavy look that didn't come from age, but from being unseen. He leaned in and said, "I haven't touched another person in months, but I still take care of things on my own. Is that bad?" That question really stuck with us. The act itself isn't bad at all, but when it becomes a replacement for real human intimacy, it becomes a problem. As we get older, many of us find ourselves drifting into quiet, predictable routines. Maybe a spouse has passed or friends have moved away, and life has just become a little more solitary. In these moments, solo release can feel like a quick and easy comfort, a habit, a way to feel something even just for a moment. And slowly, without even realizing it, we start to stop seeking connection with others. We may avoid social gatherings, hesitate to call a friend, or find excuses not to go out. It fills the gap, but that gap becomes a canyon over time. This isn't just about sex. It's about a subtle, painful withdrawal from life itself. Think about the simple, powerful things that make us feel human. A warm hug, a shared laugh, a gentle hand on the shoulder, or a shared glance that says, "I see you." A simple touch from another human being is a powerful thing. It's what keeps our spirits firing and our sense of self-worth alive. When we stop reaching out, our world starts to shrink. This isn't because we're old, it's because we've stopped believing that anyone wants what we still have to give, that our touch, our presence, our humor, and our affection still matter. If you've noticed yourself turning inward more and more, that's not a failure. It's a signal. It's a reminder that we are wired for more. And reclaiming that connection can start with something small, something that doesn't feel overwhelming. It could be making a phone call to an old friend you haven't spoken to in a while, striking up a conversation with a neighbor you see in your yard, or joining a local group that shares one of your hobbies. Intimacy isn't just physical. It's being seen, being heard, and being human again. It's about remembering that the desire for closeness is a natural part of being alive, no matter our age, and that true independence doesn't mean isolation. It means having the courage to connect. Hidden risk #2, the quiet condition of your nervous system. The next thing we want to share is something that so many men discover, and it's not about your hormones. It's about your brain and your nervous system. We had a conversation with a bright, active fellow in his mid-60s who sat with us looking defeated. "I can't feel anything like I used to," he said. "I can get there on my own, but with my wife, it's just different." What he was describing is something that can happen to any of us. Think of our brain and body like a garden. When we use the exact same watering can, with the same rhythm, pressure, and routine, we're carving a deep trench into the soil. After a while, all the water wants to flow down that one path, and the rest of the garden starts to feel forgotten. In our lives, when we engage in the same solo routine over and over, the same grip, the same speed, the same focus, our nervous system starts to expect pleasure only from that specific pattern. It gets so used to that one kind of feeling that it begins to ignore the subtle, varied sensations of real intimacy. This isn't a moral failing, and it's certainly not a sign of a broken body. It's simply how our nervous system gets conditioned. The wonderful news is that this conditioning can be unlearned. Our brains are incredibly adaptable, and with a little intention, we can create new paths. The key is to try a new path, vary your approach, change the speed and pressure, explore different positions, and most importantly, slow down. Don't just rush to the finish line. Take the time to be present and to experience a wider range of sensations. When you introduce variety, you reawaken your sensitivity, not just in your body but in your brain. You're giving your nervous system permission to feel and respond in new, exciting ways. It's about curiosity over urgency, and that can open up a whole new world of pleasure. Hidden risk #3, masking a medical warning. This next one is perhaps the most serious because it can hide something really important. We once had a conversation with a man in his late 60s who put off getting help for nearly a year. He was a proud man, but he looked so defeated when he said, "I can get hard when I'm alone, but with my wife, it just doesn't happen, so I've stopped trying." What he didn't realize was that his body was sending him a very clear warning. What he thought was a minor intimacy issue was actually an early signal of something much deeper going on inside. It could have been the first sign of blood flow issues, a prediabetes condition, or a hormonal shift. The way our bodies respond is a little like a barometer for our overall health. When blood flow slows down or our bodies become less responsive, our ability to get and keep an erection with a partner is often the very first thing to change. But here's the tricky part. A solo experience is usually easier on the mind and body. It doesn't require the same psychological or physical complexity as being with a partner. Because of this, many of us assume everything is fine, even when it's not. This assumption can be dangerous. Our solo habits can sometimes bypass these deeper issues, masking a condition that is often very treatable when caught early. If you notice that your body seems less firm or responsive with a partner but seems fine on your own, please don't ignore it. It's not a sign of failure. It's a signal. It's an invitation to talk with a trusted professional who can see the whole picture. You deserve a full life, not just a workaround. What do you all think about this topic? Have you ever noticed your body sending you signals you weren't sure how to read? We read all of your comments and reply, so let us know your thoughts below. Every comment you share will be a motivation for our channel. We are here to share useful knowledge with you, and your feedback helps us do that. Hidden risk #4, the silent strain on your body. Now let's talk about a physical ache that builds quietly over time. A good friend of ours, a man in his late 60s, came to us with a strange complaint. "I have this dull, heavy ache down there. It's not sharp, but it's a constant pressure." He looked into other issues, but when we asked about his habits, his answer was telling. To cope with boredom after retirement, he was stimulating himself 2 or 3 times a day. What he was experiencing is a kind of pelvic congestion. It's a buildup of blood and pressure in that area from repeated, frequent stimulation without adequate recovery time. Think of it like a road that's constantly being used. Without time for maintenance, it starts to wear down. This constant congestion can irritate blood vessels and cause a deep ache or a sense of heaviness. Our bodies, especially as we get a little older, need more time to recover. This isn't about anything bad, it's about balance. Just as a runner needs rest days, so too do our bodies need time to reset. Most men in our stage of life do best with a few days of rest in between. When you give your body time to reset, sensations often return stronger and more fulfilling. This is a powerful lesson in listening to your body. It's not about pushing through discomfort, but about honoring the need for rest. When we pay attention to these quiet signals, we can often avoid bigger issues down the road. Hidden risk #5, the emotional trap of avoidance. This next risk is a subtle one that many men turn to in moments of stress, loneliness, or boredom. We've heard men say, "Some days I just get tired of feeling things. That feeling helps me shut it off." He wasn't talking about lust. He was talking about loneliness, about the dull ache of an empty day. For many of us, especially as life slows down, self-pleasure becomes a kind of escape, a way to handle emotions that feel too heavy to carry. It can temporarily reduce stress and release those feel-good chemicals that make us feel calm and safe. But when it becomes our only emotional outlet, it can turn into a form of avoidance. Instead of facing deeper feelings like sadness, grief, or restlessness, we numb them with sensation. What starts as a way to cope can slowly become a dependency. We might not even realize it until we start skipping social outings, avoiding phone calls from friends, or losing interest in hobbies we once loved. As good as a moment of release might feel, it's no substitute for purpose, for a good conversation, or for a real connection to something larger than ourselves. You deserve a life that gives you more than a momentary feeling. You deserve emotional strength, and that comes from having a range of ways to feel and respond to life, not just one. It's about finding other outlets for your emotions, like talking with a friend, spending time in nature, or finding a new passion. Hidden risk #6, the unseen damage to your prostate. Now let's get into something we almost never discuss, the direct impact of our habits on our prostate health. We've been told for years that frequent activity is essential for a healthy prostate. And while it's true that some studies suggest a link between more frequent ejaculation and a lower risk of prostate issues, the quality and method of that activity are just as important. Here's the thing. Aggressive self-stimulation, especially with too much pressure or without proper lubrication, can cause trauma to the pelvic floor muscles. These muscles are at the very base of our pelvis, and they surround the prostate. When they are chronically tense or strained from overuse, they can lead to symptoms that feel just like prostate issues, such as painful urination or a feeling that you haven't completely emptied your bladder. These symptoms are often mistaken for something more serious when it's really a simple muscular issue. The key here is to be gentle and respectful of your body. Think of it as a form of physical support, not a workout. Slowing down, using lubrication and focusing on relaxation can help your prostate by keeping the surrounding muscles supple and healthy. It's about working with your body, not against it. Hidden risk #7, the silent erosion of vitality. Many of us in this stage of life worry about our energy levels, thinking of vitality as something that just fades away with time. But so much of it is about how we live. While a healthy amount of sexual activity can be part of a vibrant life, excessive or compulsive habits can become a problem. When you're constantly seeking that brief jolt of feeling good, your body can get a little tired. The systems that keep our energy and drive going can become overworked. Instead of getting a healthy surge of energy, our body is like a car that's been driven with the pedal to the floor. It can burn out. Over time, this can lead to what we might call a downregulation of your body's natural rhythm. In simple terms, your body becomes less responsive to its own cues. This is why some men find they feel fatigued, a little irritable, or less motivated after very frequent, intense self-stimulation. It's not a moral issue, it's a balance issue. Giving your body a few days to rest and rebuild can help restore a healthy rhythm. It's not about doing less, but about doing it with more purpose and more respect for your body's natural cycles. Hidden risk #8, the deceptive comfort of pornography. This is a risk that affects more men than you might imagine, and it starts in your brain. We once spoke with a man in his early 70s who shared something with remarkable honesty. "It's not that I don't want intimacy with a partner," he said. "It's that real life just doesn't do it for me anymore." He was describing a disconnect from reality. He had unknowingly trained his brain to respond only to the highly curated, unrealistic intensity of what he was watching. Over time, real life, the gentle touch, the scent, the emotional connection, just couldn't compete. Our brains are incredibly responsive to new and different things. When exposed repeatedly to highly arousing, unrealistic content, our brain starts to crave the extreme. It adjusts its internal reward system, and slowly it stops responding to the natural, slower pace of true human connection. This is something we call neurological desensitization. It's the very reason why you might feel bored in real-life moments that used to bring joy. But here's the good news. Our brains are always changing. You can retrain it. Start by taking breaks from artificial content. Replace it with your own imagination, with memories, or with real human contact. Give yourself a chance to rediscover the slower, deeper layers of intimacy. You are not too old to feel something real again. Hidden risk #9, the power of your pelvic floor. When we talk about our health, We often focus on things we can see or feel, like blood flow and energy levels. But there's a huge, often ignored part of our body that plays a crucial role in our vitality and sexual health: the pelvic floor. These are the muscles at the base of our pelvis that form a kind of supportive hammock. They hold up our internal organs and are essential for things like bladder control, as well as maintaining firmness and control during intimacy. As we get older, these muscles can weaken, just like any other muscle in our body. This can lead to a host of issues, from less firm responses to a frustrating sense of losing control. But here's a problem many men don't realize they have. These muscles can also become chronically tight or strained. This often happens from an overly aggressive self-stimulation technique. Think of it like this. If you're clenching these muscles too much or too often, they get tired and overstressed, just like if you held a heavy weight for too long at the gym. This constant tension can lead to that dull ache we talked about earlier, or even a feeling of being broken or less responsive. The key is to learn to engage these muscles deliberately and gently, and just as importantly, to give them a rest. A simple form of pelvic floor exercise can strengthen these muscles and help them relax, which can significantly improve blood flow, sensation, and control. It's about building a foundation of strength and flexibility so that your body works with you, not against you. Hidden risk #10, a loss of intention. The final risk we'll discuss is perhaps the most profound of all: the loss of intention. Many of us, as we get older, can find ourselves engaging in a private habit simply out of a sense of routine or boredom, rather than from a place of true, conscious desire or pleasure. When an act becomes a mindless routine, it loses its power to connect us with ourselves. Instead of being a way to honor our body and desires, it becomes just a way to pass the time. This can lead to a quiet sense of emptiness, a feeling that we're just going through the motions. We might not even realize it's happening until we start to feel numb or detached from the act itself. The solution is simple but powerful: bring intention back to your life. Take a moment to ask yourself why you're engaging in this act. Is it for relief, for pleasure, for a deeper connection with yourself? When you re-engage with the why, you can transform a mindless habit into a conscious act of self-care. It's about remembering that you are a man with needs, desires, and a story, and you have the right to honor all of it with awareness and with respect. A final word on the power of your body. Now you know, this part of our lives isn't good or bad. It's a tool, and like any tool, how you use it determines whether it strengthens you or slowly wears you down. We've talked about 10 real things to be aware of, from social isolation and hormonal balance to physical discomfort and the loss of intention. These aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to wake you up and give you the permission to take better care of yourself. Because this stage of life isn't about giving things up. It's about doing them differently, with more intention, more care, and more wisdom. Your body still responds. Your desire still matters. And with a few small shifts, your private habits can become a source of strength instead of a secret source of shame. If this conversation spoke to you and you found it useful, please like this video, share it with a friend who might need to hear this, and comment below to let us know your thoughts. Your support helps us continue to create content that serves you and our community.